very warm welcome to this special broadcast on India Ahead. I'm Saurav Sanyala. Big story this hour, justice for Nirbhaya. After 7 long years of excruciating wait, finally it's a new day, it's a new dawn for India. Not just for Nirbhaya's parents, Asha Devi and Badrinath Singh, but for the entire country as a whole. A country which hasn't slept whole of last night. A country which had been curiously following each and every twist and turn of the high-pitched midnight drama, as it were, being enacted by the Council for Nirbhaya's convicts. Nirbhaya finally has got justice. Asha Devi and Badrinath Singh can finally take some rest after a fight that has spanned 7 long years. Way back on a cold December night of 2012, Nirbhaya was brutally gang raped. Literally, her intestines pulled out, her vagina perforated by a gang of brutes. 6 brutes to be precise, one of whom happened to be a juvenile and managed to escape the gallows. One other lost the battle to life, and the 4 others who tried all possible tricks that were available, who tried to exploit the judicial system to the hilt, the loopholes and the lacunae, as activists and lawyers are pointing out, as it were, to try and delay the execution, finally lost the battle. Celebrations have erupted outside Tihar jail. Activist Brinda Adige, zakiakhan, political commentator, also with us on the broadcast. I'm also joined in by actor Prachi Adhikari on the broadcast. It's been a morning like never before. It's been a morning that one will remember in a long, long time, for sure. And if I could start with you, Zakia, that the very fact that we haven't been able to sleep all night as the countdown continued with the twists and turns outside the Patiala House Court and then the matter reaching the higher courts, no one really regrets that no, we have not been able to catch a good night's sleep. It's been a new dawn altogether.
It's a victory. Of course, Nirbhaya could not win the battle of life, but she has won the battle of justice. And not alone Nirbhaya, this is a battle of justice for all upcoming women and ladies who are still hiding their cases just because they are fear to get justice and all the accused, whoever pressurize them, so they just wanted themselves to be safe from this. But after seeing this justice, they will definitely come out and speak for their own rights. This is going to be a good example.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judiciary. That's the message, loud and clear, that's coming out of the gates of Tihar jail. And I can confirm to our viewers now that the pre-dawn execution process is absolutely complete, and the medical officer has certified that all the 4 convicts are officially dead. Parents, it lies with us as a society as a whole. That, in a way, these are products of the society.
Absolutely.
So it calls for a societal change.
It calls for a societal change.
Zakia, if I could bring you in now, I think Rami touched upon this very, very interesting dimension in this discussion. Beta bachao, beta padhao, and she also referred to what AP Singh said with regards to her daughter, what the convicts said, that no, if Nirbhaya hadn't fought so hard, she wouldn't have been brutalized as she was. Now, Zakia, I just want to ask you, when you look at this case, when you see this jubilation outside Tihar, where people holding the Tiranga, reposing their faith in the judiciary, as it were, and when you recall that the huge gatherings, which in a way shook the conscience of the nation way back in the year 2012, between then and now, Zakia, has anything really changed on the ground? Or is this case now going to be the cornerstone? How we are going to be looking at things, how we are going to be looking at women, how we are going to be rearing our own children, including boys, going forward.
Look, I would like to start from the point which has been raised by Brinda, which is very important, like how we are going to bring up our boys, because look, technically, all the education starts from the home, and if we are not going to teach them how they have to give the respect to their sister and other ladies who is walking with them, their colleagues, they will never understand. and this is important to bring it into the rural areas as well. And for that, they have to start some kind of, motivative slogan. In spite of just giving a slogan of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, there should be some kind of slogan which really teach and give a knowledge to the male figures. Okay, this is the time to learn how to behave with your colleagues, your sisters, your women around you. And I was saying earlier also, there is many cases which not even get registered. And now, since after getting this kind of victory, which is, of course, a big victory for Indian ladies who are still keeping their cases behind and not bringing it in front because of their some kind of worry or pressure or whatever you can judge. I, in fact, even like to say that whatever the SHOs and the police done that time, that was a very big thing for this case to come up till this post. If we go through these days, we will find a lot of complaints comes that, okay, ma'am, this complaint is not getting registered. After even having such a lot of acts, such a lot
Yes,
of...
and I think that's a very important point.
Yeah. So even the teasing cases,
I think that's a very important point that you've just touched upon. That it begins right at the grassroots level, and that's exactly what we were discussing. That when any woman goes to a police station to lodge a complaint, in a way her harassment, instead of being eased, it compounds.
Absolutely.
Many times. And it's just not about, and when we talk of women, let us not overlook the fact that at least in the urban centers, at least in cities and towns, there is still, there are different means by which awareness can be spread. But when it comes down to the villages, and we do know that India stays in villages,
Absolutely.
we cannot forget the Unnao rape horror. We cannot forget cases which have come to the fore over and over again from the length and breadth of the country, where women have been objectified, where women have been brutalized, and they have been virtually left to die with no support coming in from the very agencies who are supposed to be giving protection to them.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, is extremely, extremely unfortunate. Which include Rami Desai, analyst. I have with me Kulveer Krishnan, senior cop who served in the capacity of a Director General of Police. I have with me political commentator and social analyst Vivekanand Nartam. I also have with me Zakiakhan, activist who's also been tracking the case very, very closely. Before I get all of you in, let me quickly play out a reaction. An India Ahead exclusive. My colleague Siddhant Maheshwari caught up with Asha Devi. Yes, the fact that the brutes who drove her daughter to that untimely death, to that untimely end, that they have been hanged. That was Asha Devi. This is the day, this is the time, this is her moment, as it were, a moment that she has been waiting for to share her happiness with the rest of the country. But then, is this a closure or is this just the beginning? Zakia, if I could bring you in, what do you think is likely to happen going forward? Yes, with this execution, it's been like a pointer like never before. With this execution, a message has gone out loud and clear that no matter who you are, if you have committed a crime, if the law of the land finds you guilty of committing the rarest, of being convicted in rarest of rare case, as was the case with Nirbhaya, this is going to be your inevitable end. Zakia. Right, I think there seems to be an issue. Zakia, I would like to bring you in. When you look at what happened in Hyderabad with that doctor whose charred body was found by the roadside, and then subsequently the accused, they died in an encounter. Many said that it was stage managed by the police. The police said no, they had been taken to the spot of the crime to recreate the crime scene, where they tried to flee, and then the police had to act in self-defense because they had opened fire. Now, in the middle of all this, I remember talking to Asha Devi, and she had said that in a way, मेरा तो बिल्कुल ही जो अपना जुडिशरी है उससे भरोसा एक तरह से उठ गया है. And this is the same woman today who has been all smile and saying that no, I salute the judiciary. And we can understand that it was a very, very emotional and a very personal outburst. She had said that maybe what happened in Hyderabad should have been the way forward. Just take us to Zakia. When you look at what has happened there in Hyderabad, when you look at what has happened there, the faith in judiciary has been reinforced. Don't you feel that the time is now to ensure that more and more Nirbhayas who are still waiting for justice, the justice be meted out to them as well at the earliest?
Yeah, that is very important. In fact, the movement when this encounter happened, just before that, the postponement of this, hanging was done. And not just me, but a lot of activists who were really involved in this, they were talking that, okay, at least Priyanka got the justice because of this encounter. I know it was not the good manner or the process was not complete, but that particular movement, when we heard that, okay, again the case has been postponed, we appreciated whatever the action was taken. But of course, if some kind of fast track could be arranged, in fact, it has to be arranged because there is not just one case. It is not just one Nirbhaya. If you talk about POSCO cases, also there is a lot of cases which is lying and which is not being, still just has to come in that cases also. So we need this at urgency. We need the fast track court with the judge and of course lawyers like A.K. Singh has to be, acknowledged that how they need to respond in a public because whatever a responsible person says, that goes to complete nation. He has to be more responsible while talking in a public. Hello.
Right. So one has to be responsible, and responsibility when it comes to social behavior as well. Responsibility with regards to one's actions as well. The big questions coming to the fore. But you talked about fast-track courts. Now, when we talk of fast-track courts, the conviction rate that Mr. Krishan Zakia, I would want to ask you a different question from a different point of view. We do know that mass media also plays a very big role, and social media now, when it comes to shaping one's perception. And we do know that children are extremely, extremely vulnerable. They in a way tend to believe in that whatever make-believe is dished out to them in terms of entertainment, be it in television serials where it's so easy and one can get away by whistling at a girl passing by, and it's also normal. We've in a way learned to live with it, that it's okay. When it comes to those cat calls for women who are walking down, we end up shaming women. Many a times even our political leaders are to be blamed for passing such sexist comments, irrespective of the political party that they belong to. Knowingly, unknowingly, mass media, films, television, entertainment, and now live streaming, it objectifies, it commodifies women, it makes women very, very readily available. As it were, it's okay to pass lewd comments, to gesticulate at women passing by, and then nothing is going to happen. It's all a part of life. How do you think that, as far as this Nirbhaya verdict is concerned, that this should also come as a wake-up call and hold up a mirror to our entertainment and showbiz industry as well?
Look, first of all, we have to understand the woman is not at all a part of objects. So we should immediately stop propaganding them as a part of object. That is really giving a very, very bad knowledge to our upcoming kids. They are not yet to understand what responsibility they have to take. That is what we have to be taught. They have to be taught from the school and the home, and of course the censor has to work on it. They have to understand what kind of advertisement, what kind of things should be published. And people like I told earlier also, lawyer A.K. Singh and other people like all parliamentary people, not all, of course, few of them who track some kind of things like this, they have to be more responsible because they are the icon of this Indian society. People are listening. Our kids are following them. They have to understand their responsibility. They have to give their comments and verdicts accordingly. What has to be, pulled out from there, and the kids will be catching things. And in these streets, if some people is commenting like this, definitely they have to stop. It's not just one person or one activist or media's responsibility. It is the whole nation's responsibility to act and make our youngsters understand what exactly a woman means to India. We are the Janni, we are the person who gives the birth to the society. We are the maker of the country. We don't need any kind of slogans like Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao. We are already successful. Have you gone to the farms? There will be more than 60% women working shoulderly. There is no Beti Bachao or Beti Padhao slogans. They are already there. Why this slogans is coming? Why you are making us feel that we are weaker? We are not at all weaker. We just don't want to push you and come out. We want you to leave this space so that we can walk freely without fear, without any kind of pressure. Without you to point out what we have to wear, what we have to talk, what we have to eat. And I'm very much, surprised to see, not just now, but earlier also, a lot of time, a lot of intellectual women also keep pointing that the girl should wear this and that. That time it's really embarrassing. Being a woman, how can you criticize somebody for just a dress up? Okay, she wears this, so she is a part of the rape. This is ridiculous. This all thing has to be stopped. We have to become more sensitive towards the society. What we speak, what we say should be pointed before bringing it up, because we being an icon or responsible Indians, we have to see this.
And I think being responsible citizens, that is where the crux really lies, and a lot depends on the role that we as individuals play in the society. Nirbhaya's case has opened up multiple vistas for us, the civil society, the policymakers, the lawmakers, the think tank, to consolidate their thoughts and put the thoughts into action. Yes, there are laws, but then there are loopholes as well. There are grey areas, which we have all been able to identify over the course of last 7 years. At a time when it appeared that possibly justice would be denied to Nirbhaya, we have seen that how the judiciary has once again ensured that our faith in the highest courts of the country remain unshattered. I must thank all of you for joining us on this broadcast. It was a pleasure having all your views with us. We can only hope that the key takeaways which come out of this discussion would translate into tangible and legible action going forward, that all other Nirbhayas will finally get justice, and that any other brute who might be thinking essentially of playing with the lives of women will have second thoughts. Thanks for watching.